Dr. Livingston, I presume? No, my dear fellow. This is Chris, the botanical adventurer, and I want to invite you for an exciting botanical expedition. Now, let me introduce my most trusted expedition assistant, Gary the gorilla. What he's got here is the Mandala Gold Bird of Paradise, a marvellous specimen. Gary's stumbled on something most peculiar, a tractor seed plant. An abundance of bare-rooted 3-foot standard roses, icebergs, and a plethora of colours. And a bare-rooted bounty of apples, pears, nectarines, apricots, and peaches. Splendid work, old chap. Well then, venture awaits, and join me for a botanical adventure. Hi, this is Lynn and Harry, and they've got a 5-acre property in Seymour, and they came down to Campbellfield to get bare rooted.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what you've got now, you've got sunburst honey locusts, and they're about 8 foot tall, and you paid $19.90 each for them. What do you reckon about a deal like that?
I reckon I stole them.
It's a bit like shoplifting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You've got yourself standard roses, and they've cost you $14.99. Good bargain?
Yes, definitely.
How long have you been getting bare rooted down at Hello Hello for?
10 years.
Yeah,
Yep,
right.
Ever since we've been planting the garden out in the property, we've helloed often. If you've got to create a garden, you couldn't do better than come here.
Thank you very much for that. Thanks for coming down. Thanks a lot.
Terrific.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Don't wait, the garden's calling. Click now. Tap the link and let's go. Now's the time to stock up on standard roses. We've got 3-foot standard roses, all different colours, thousands of them in stock, all $29.99. So whether you need 4 of one colour or half a dozen different ones, all $29.99. And then you've got standard icebergs at $16.99. So look at this beautiful standard iceberg, $16.99. And 3-foot standard icebergs, just $29.99. So now's the time to stock up on standard roses, because there's thousands to choose from, all bare rooted, easy to transport, easy to plant, and very, very cheap at $29.99. The classic Melbourne garden is standard roses and English box, and we've got thousands of beautiful English box 6-inch pot for $4.99. To keep us busy in the cold weather, spend over $300 and get a $100 weeping cherry for free. Wow.
I just want to say it is phenomenal. It's amazing. Awesome surprise.
And that's what we do. When people spend over $300, everybody gets a free weeping cherry. It's a $100 weeping cherry. What do you reckon?
It is the most unexpected surprise.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, I like it.
It's been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Hello Hello Plants.
That is amazing. Thanks, Chris. Thank
Beautiful.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yay! The free weeping cherries are on me. Finally, inner peace. Howdy folks, it's time to saddle up because the bare-rooted revolution is riding into town. Yeah! Bare-rooted bargains, so good you'll be yelling yeah all the way to the garden bed. Standard roses, all colours, $14.99. Ornamental pears, $14.99. And self-pollinating cherries, only $19.99. And gorgeous red maples, just $21.99. Over 100 rootin' tootin' deals. And if that ain't got you galloping in, spend over $300 and get a free weeping cherry. Yeah! Saddle up and get plantin', partner! It's time to get bare-rooted. Bare-rooted plants, that is. Now what it is in the wintertime, the growers dig the plants from the fields and they dig them just bare-rooted. And I'll show you what I mean. Like, here's an ornamental pear here. Have a look at this. And see, it's come out and it's bare-rooted. The roots like that. These are $69.99 and look, they're 2.5 meters tall. So what it is, basically, your bare-rooted plants are big and cheap. Then you've got all different types of fruit trees, all going quite reasonably priced. Good sized plants and cheap prices, but you can get bare-rooted weeping trees, bare-rooted roses, bare-rooted fruit trees and bare-rooted English box. So it's time to get down to your nursery in the winter and get bare-rooted. Don't wait, the garden's calling. Click now, tap the link and let's go. If you're looking to get some roses, now's the best time. We've got the best price and the best selection. Look, we've got thousands in stock, and all of our 3-foot roses are $29.99, and we've got 2-foot icebergs for $16.99, and all the 2-foot coloured ones are all $19.99. So fabulous price, fabulous selection. There's thousands to choose from. Get 10 yellows, 3 pink ones, whatever you want. Come in this weekend and get bare-rooted roses. Don't wait, the garden's calling. Click now, tap the link and let's go. Dr. Livingston, I presume? No, my dear fellow. This is Chris, the botanical adventurer, and I want to invite you for an exciting botanical expedition. Now, let me introduce my most trusted expedition assistant, Gary the gorilla. What he's got here is the Mandala Gold Bird of Paradise, a marvellous specimen. Gary's stumbled on something most peculiar, a tractor seed plant. An abundance of bare-rooted 3-foot standard roses, icebergs, and a plethora of colours. And a bare-rooted bounty of apples, pears, nectarines, apricots, and peaches. Splendid work, old chap. Well then, venture awaits. And join me for a botanical adventure. Hi, this is Lynn and Harry, and they've got a 5-acre property in Seymour, and they came down to Campbellfield to get bare rooted.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what you've got now, you've got sunburst honey locusts, and they're about 8 foot tall, and you paid $19.90 each for them. What do you reckon about a deal like that?
I reckon I stole them.
It's a bit like shoplifting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You've got yourself standard roses, and they've cost you $14.99. Good bargain?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
How long have you been getting bare rooted down at Hello Hello for?
Oh,
10 years?
10 years.
Yeah,
Yep,
right.
ever since we've been planting the garden out on the property, we've helloed often. If you've got to create a garden, you couldn't do better than come here.
Thank you very much for that. Thanks for coming down. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
terrific.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Don't wait, the garden's calling. Click now, tap the link and let's go. Now's the time to stock up on standard roses. We've got 3-foot standard roses, all different colours, thousands of them in stock, all $29.99. So whether you need 4 of one colour or half a dozen different ones, all $29.99. And then you've got standard icebergs at $16.99. So look at this beautiful standard iceberg, $16.99. And 3-foot standard icebergs, just $29.99. So now's the time to stock up on standard roses, because there's thousands to choose from, all bare rooted, easy to transport, easy to plant, and very, very cheap at $29.99. The classic Melbourne garden is standard roses and English box, and we've got thousands of beautiful English box 6-inch pot for $4.99. To keep us busy in the cold weather, spend over $300 and get a $100 weeping cherry for free. Wow.
I just want to say
It is phenomenal. Amazing. Awesome surprise.
That's what we do. When people spend over $300, everybody gets a free weeping cherry. It's a $100 weeping cherry. What do you reckon?
It is the most unexpected surprise.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, I like it.
it's been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Hello Plants.
That is amazing. Thanks, Chris. Thank
Beautiful.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yay! The free weeping cherries are on me. Finally, inner peace. Howdy folks, it's time to saddle up because the bare-rooted revolution is riding into town. Yeah! Bare-rooted bargains, so good you'll be yelling yeah all the way to the garden bed. Standard roses, all colours, $14.99. Ornamental pears, $14.99. And self-pollinating cherries, only $19.99. And gorgeous red maples, just $21.99. Over 100 rootin' tootin' deals. And if that ain't got you galloping in, spend over $300 and get a free weeping cherry. Yeah! Saddle up and get plantin', partner. It's time to get bare-rooted plants, that is. Now what it is... Hello.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our live Q&A. New members, returning members, hello and welcome all. So if you're new here, I'll give you a little debrief on what our live Q&As are. If you're returning, you can start getting those questions ready for us and commenting it. So for anyone new here, our live Q&As is something we do every week, normally on a Monday, but today we're doing it on a Tuesday. And to make up for not doing it on a Monday, we have a very special prize that's going to happen at the end of the live. We're going to give it to one very lucky winner. All you need to do is answer a super simple question. So make sure to stick around to the end of the live and you could win a free garden design and a free weeping cherry. And you just need to answer a super simple question. So that's what we're doing to make up for the fact that we're not doing it on our typical Monday, but normally we are doing it every Monday 12 p.m. to 12:45 p.m. And our live Q&As is where you can come with all your questions about plants, about gardens, whether you are starting a new garden project and you need some help with recommendations, whether it is a plant that is struggling and you don't know how to fix it up and how to get it back to life. Anything related to gardening, anything related to plants, all you need to do then is comment it. I'm going to ask it to Chris and he's going to answer it in live time. Now, we love details, we love letting us know whereabouts you are, because that will help us give a more niche specific answer. If it is like a plant problem you have, try and give us as much details as you can. So yeah, I'm going to give people some time to get their questions in. And while I do that, do you want to let them know about this week's live sale?
Right, okay, so what we've got is we've got a live sale, and it's a Dr. Livingstone, I presume, Jungle Adventure live sale.
Gorillas go wild.
Oh, gorillas go wild. So we had a gorilla, Gary the gorilla, on our last one, and this time he's gone wild, and we've got some really, really wild specials. And so with spring just around the corner and you're thinking of doing up your garden or getting into that garden project that you've been putting off through the miserable winter, now is the time to get into it. Attend our live sale, and what it is, we'll have over 100 specials, and I'll be going through those specials one by one, telling you all about it, giving you an idea of how much you'd be saving on that particular special. And there are it's our Gorillas Gone Wild one, there's some amazing specials in there. Beautiful big dwarf Dutch box for $5.50, ornamental pears for $14.99, and that's just two of them. I'm not going to tell you the other 100 odd. So crazy specials. You can buy them online, you can come in the store, but it really gives you, and we've designed with a really interesting range of specials so that anybody can do their whole garden project on the cheap.
Amazing. We'll start off with our first question. Can you please come to Sydney?
I'd love to come to Sydney, and I'm working my way there. My idea is to stay here in Melbourne, but I put my vans up in Sydney and deliver, and we're working towards it. A big percentage of our phone calls are coming from Sydney because people are seeing how much better the Victorian prices are and how much better range we've got in Victoria. And my goal is within the next 12 months to actually make that available in Sydney.
Yep. Ariana wants to know, when is the best time to plant hydrangeas? Are they selling now? I'd love to plant some this year.
Yeah, do you know, now, it's a funny thing, most hydrangeas look somewhere between ordinary and terrible right now. They're just horrible little sticks and that, but the little shoots are coming, and I would be getting out and buying my hydrangeas right now. We'd have 300 or 400 hydrangeas in stock right now. The full range isn't quite available right now, but it'll be available very soon. But the ones that you buy early in the season are much more likely to flower this summer, and they're going to really grow. I won't go into technical reasons why, but the ones that we've got here now are going to explode in size and have flowers this summer. So now would be a great time to get out and get your hydrangeas, even though it's a time when most people won't buy a hydrangea because they look like dead sticks, or they're like dead sticks with little tiny shoots on them. They're just starting to get those little shoots now. So they're kind of unexciting to look at, but I'd be getting out, I'd be planting them, and the secret to growing hydrangeas is a little bit of fertiliser, like a bit of Osmocote, and water, water, water. And then mostly what they like is they like a bit of dappled shade, or morning sun, afternoon shade. They like to be out of the hot afternoon sun, although we do have a couple of varieties, if you ask me. I have a couple of varieties that will thrive in the hot sun, and one of those is Sunday Phrase. As long as you get the water up to it, it'll absolutely flourish in the hot sun. So that's Sunday Phrase, beautiful big white paniculata hydrangea with pink, the flowers turn pink around Mother's Day.
Yeah. The next question is, I'm in Perth, WA, and my fiddle leaf is looking sad and a little lanky. Should I prune it back and feed it? If so, what should I use?
In Perth, I wonder if you're using it as an indoor or an outdoor plant. Because in Perth you could actually grow, it's such a warm spot, you could actually grow a fiddle leaf fig outside in a sheltered spot, I reckon. Now if it was outside in the ground, you could prune it back, but I'd wait another 3 or 4 weeks till the weather warms up a bit and give it a good prune then. And a good feed, and keep it well watered and get it shooting again. But you just let it warm up a little bit so it shoots straight away after you prune it.
And if it's indoors?
If it's indoors, I'd prune it more cautiously because it won't have the.
Undercover under a patio.
Undercover under the patio. Well, do you know, prune it more lightly, prune it fairly lightly, and maybe repot it and give it a good feed. So maybe what you could do is repot it and give it a good feed right now, a bit of Osmocote. Repot it, give it a good feed right now, and then wait 2 or 3 weeks and give it a nice light prune.
Yep. The next question is, what's the benefit of using raised garden beds?
There's a couple of benefits. Most of all, I remember one time I gave away a raised garden bed as a prize, and I delivered and set it up for the lady and filled it up with soil. It was all part of the prize. And this lady had she had arthritis or some problem where she couldn't bend over. And when I set it, when I took it, I took some little vegetable seedlings there, and I set up the garden bed. I filled it up with soil, and then I got out my vegetable seedlings, and she came and started planting the veggie seedlings in the raised bed. And while she was planting them, she started crying, and she said that she hadn't been able to bend over and plant a plant for many years. And the fact that she now had a raised bed meant that she could go out and garden and actually have the physical sensation of planting her own plants, and she cried. So, I mean, the number one benefit is that people who are perhaps getting a bit on can access and plant their plants and have their garden. But the other thing is that a lot of people have got terrible soil, like a lot of around Melbourne you've got horrible clays and things like that, and what you can do is you can fill it up with compost and good potting mix and good soil, fill it right up and have vegetables really flourish, although you may have poor soil in your area. And the other small advantage is that things will shoot away a bit earlier and grow a little bit better in the raised garden bed because it's warmer. As you go down in the ground, it's colder, and so it'll be that little bit warmer, and it'll probably give you a 1 week or 10 day start on tomatoes and things like that, being raised up and warmer. So a bit of a head start. Great for old people, so they can get down and still be planting, even though they're getting a bit old and stiff. And also great if you've got terrible soil and you build it up with beautiful compost and potting mix and stuff.
The next question is, how do I improve sandy soil so it holds more water?
Right. Okay. So what you need, if you wanted to fast track it, what you want is you want to mix in some organic material. Now, if you were to buy real, and it's hard to buy real stuff, you might even ring up a local mushroom farm and find out how to get real, but mushroom compost is pure organic material. Cocoa peat is another, so cocoa peat, fine crushed pine bark, and mushroom compost are all organic material, and organic material is going to make the water hold much better in the sand. And so buying something, so something like your coconut peat, real peat, mushroom compost are all ways that you can get some organic material. Or even the simplest thing is start your own compost heap. And don't use one of those plastic buckets that don't breathe, because the compost goes terrible in those. You know, maybe make a heap and you put down a layer of compost, layer of soil, layer of compost, layer of soil. and build up. So your own compost, peat, cocoa peat, real mushroom compost. Some people just sell rubbish and they call it mushroom compost and make people buy it and you get the wrong stuff. But real mushroom compost, all fabulous to mix through your sandy soil. And really, sandy soil mixed up with a bit of good organic material is probably one of the best growing mediums around.
Amazing. The next question is, let's see, why do some plants prefer morning sun over afternoon sun?
Right. So I guess we grow a lot of things that, like say for instance, I've spoken to Irish people and in Ireland they grow their hydrangeas everywhere because the sun's not so hot in Ireland, you know, like up in the northern hemisphere at the higher latitudes. At the higher latitudes, you haven't got such hot sun. So in Australia, we've got very, very hot sun, and so for a hydrangea, where you could grow in Ireland, you could grow, or England, parts of England, you could grow hydrangeas just out completely in the open, and they're not worried by the sun. When you get into a Melbourne situation, where you've got the really hot sun, just a lot of plants that, you know, like things like plectranthus, hydrangeas, all sorts of things, like to get out of that hot afternoon sun and just have the morning sun. And the morning sun is much cooler and doesn't have the same radiant force as the afternoon sun.
Amazing. And just a reminder for anyone that has joined our live Q&A now, if you stick around till the end, you could get the chance to win a free garden design and free weeping cherry. And it's super easy. Chris is just going to ask you a very simple question, and the first person to answer it will be winning the free garden design and the free weeping cherry. So super exciting. So make sure you stick around till the end. In the meantime, we'd love questions from you. So keep commenting your questions and Chris will keep answering them. So our next question is, hi Chris, love the content you put on social media. My question is, how long can I expect if I plant a camellia from a 20mm pot to form something about 1 meter hedge? Also Sasanqua or Japonica, thank you.
Okay, you'll find Sasanqua faster than Japonica, and I think 12 to 18 months should get you a 1 meter tall hedge.
Amazing. Next question is, can you tell me 8 native WA plants, kangaroo paw and ? 3 invasive plants and their control. I don't know if your comment got a little bit cut off there. I think it might have. Sometimes there are certain words that the live doesn't like, so it blocks out the comment and I can't see the rest of it. So if you could try maybe rewording it. But for the moment, I'll just ask can you tell me 8 native WA plants?
Gosh, you've got Geraldton wax, you've got your kangaroo paws, and really I'd have to look that one up. Because we sell such a range of natives here, and some of them West Australian and some of like South Australian and Victorian, so it'd be a bit hard for me to actually do that. Perhaps what I'll do is we'll look that up and we'll answer that next week.
Yeah. And the next question...
So let's make a note of that and we'll do it next week.
Yeah, if you also want to join us next week, Monday, ask that question again and we can give you those 8 native plants. The next question is, can you open a store in Perth?
Never thought of that. It's a whole different world. Love to really. Like I guess what we're doing, we'll have to spread. What we're doing as a nursery is quite unique, and we'll have to spread all over Australia eventually.
Yeah. Next question is, what's the best time to start the veggie garden, tomatoes and good spring and summer yields?
What's that?
What's the best time to start the veggie garden, tomatoes and good spring and summer yields?
Right, okay. So the great thing now is a lot of veggies are available in quite large pots, and if you could put your tomatoes inside a little plastic house at the moment, now would be a good time to plant them. But I think for people putting them outdoors, like we just had one of our biggest frosts of the year in Melbourne just last night, and so your tomato may not die in that frost, but it could be hurt. And so getting in at just the right time. That's what market gardeners do. They know exactly the right time, and generally it'll be the first or second week in September is the time when the frost finish, the warmer nights start, and that can be a time to get a lot of your vegetables growing. If you're growing from seed, you could probably be putting seeds in now so that you've got them up and away at that right time. So going from seed, you might be planting seed now, and you could, if you find a nice warm little spot out of the frost and that to start germinating seed, maybe in a seedling tray, you could, so now's a good time to really get in and start germinating seeds and things like that, and then planting out. Mid-September would be the time to get going with capsicums and tomatoes and all that. And what will happen is that the plants will go in, the soil will be warming, there'll be no frosty cold nights, and the plants can grow without injury from the cold.
Yeah. And in that same kind of vein, which vegetables should I be planting over the next couple of months in Perth?
What's that?
Which vegetables should I be planting over the next couple months in Perth?
Well, Perth is a couple of weeks ahead of Melbourne, and so really all your spring vegetables could be going in now. You could be planting seeds of carrots, you could be planting silver beet, you could be putting in your tomato seedlings, your capsicums, all the things that we're going to be planting in a few weeks' time, you could start doing right now in Perth.
Yeah.
Because you're that little bit warmer.
Someone would like to know, do you still own the one in Hoppers?
No.
All right, next question is, hi, I was in on Sunday and bought natives. What's a good native fertilizer or just dynamic lifter?
I reckon that your native Osmocote is a much better native fertilizer than your dynamic lifter, because dynamic lifter is a more general purpose one, although I'll qualify that and say that most natives are going to thrive with a bit of dynamic lifter, but a few of them, like perhaps your kangaroo paws, there'd be a few, and some of your grevilleas and that, and you're going to find that the phosphorus in the dynamic lifter is going to be a little bit high. So I generally although dynamic lifter, so I'll qualify that and say it better, although dynamic lifter is going to be fine for most natives, native Osmocote will be safe for all natives.
Yeah. And then I have a possum that is eating my camellia. It now looks almost bare. How do I get rid of it or discourage it?
A possum. All right. Okay. Go into Bunnings, get yourself some neem oil, and spray it every couple of weeks with neem oil. And neem oil has a horrible sour taste that should stop the possum from eating it.
Yep. Next one is, I'm looking to screen out the neighbours. I'm on a Brisbane suburban block. Looking at Leighton Green, do you recommend this plant or is there a better plant?
I think you're a little bit tropical there for Leighton's Green. I think you could grow them, but you're a little bit too tropical. So what else could you, I think, what would you use up there? Like Brisbane? You could use sweet viburnum would be very, very good, and there's different sorts of sweet viburnum. So sweet viburnum, you could use a lily pilly, like a green screen, so a green screen lily pilly, a sweet viburnum. I would tend to stay away from the Leightons because, give it a bad wet season, you can get a bit of rot or something in them. What else would you use there? Look, I think those two would be fairly safe choices. The other one that you could use, a nice native to use that would do really, really well there, is your blueberry ash. So blueberry ash, lovely native, sweet viburnum, lush and green and happy and really, really happy, grows fabulously up there, and then something like a green screen lily pilly.
Yeah. Next question is, why am I getting some brown branches on my English box?
Brown branches, it depends when you got them. What it is, if you live in a spot that's fairly exposed and cold, English box gets browns and purples on some of its branches, and so a little bit of that in a spot, like in a city you don't really get that, but when you get in the outer suburbs or out on the outer ring outside of Melbourne, out in the country a little bit, you'll get lots of brown from the cold, but also, that brown could be a little bit of a warning. Often people plant their English box along the edge of a concrete driveway, and the winter rains all run off the concrete into the English box, and it can cause a bit of root rot. And then you get some brown branches because of the root rot. So it could be root rot. So drainage. So if you've got drainage problems, so the thing that would cause brown branches would be drainage problems and root damage from drainage problems, or severe cold. So if you lived in a spot like like up in the sort of Macedon or out in that sort of higher country, I would expect your English brown to get tinges of brown and purple in it just from the cold.
Yeah. Next question is, I have a courtyard wall to the north and want to espalier some fruit. What can plant in that shade?
Okay, so it's on the shady side. Probably the best thing would be lemons.
Okay.
Is probably the best performing fruit tree in the shade.
Yeah. Next question is, can you send to
Actually, I'll just say something else. On that south side, if you didn't insist on fruit, what would really flourish there would be Sasanqua camellia, and they'll espalier beautifully.
Yeah. Next question is, can you send to Indonesia?
No, we're not really geared up to do that. No.
Next question is, I have an olive tree from you 2 years ago, around 3 foot with 2 to 3 fruits. It's more than 5 foot tall now, but still no fruit. Am I missing something?
It probably needs to grow. It takes them a while to sexually. Depends. Olives, when they grow an olive from an immature plant, it can take quite a few years to fruit. And there's one company that's involved in doing olive orcharding, and they grow all of their olives with sexually mature cuttings, and I've seen plants that were only 6 inches high covered in olives. So it depends how it was propagated. Probably propagated as a sexually immature cutting, and it can take several years. Now, what can speed up that fruiting process is using something like Miracle Grow.
Yeah. Next question is, going to study horticulture next year. Any tips for studying?
I reckon the way to learn horticulture really quickly is to get yourself a job somewhere where there's lots of real horticulture going on, like a really good production nursery. But get yourself doing even part-time work, weekend work. Get yourself working in horticulture, and you'll pick it up much faster because it'll become real. And often I've had people that have done years of horticultural study with not really much ability to apply horticulture. So the best way to really, summer holidays, weekends, whatever, get yourself doing horticulture while studying horticulture, and you'll do really well.
Yeah. Ariana wants to know, what's your favourite flower?
Favourite flower? What do I really love? I think one of my favourite flowers is Shasta daisy, and there's a particular Shasta daisy that's a kind of a shaggy Shasta daisy. And the Shasta daisy's got an interesting story. The Shasta daisy was Luther Burbank, who's the world's greatest ever plant breeder, developed the Shasta daisy over many years, and his goal was to make the whitest, brightest flower. And it's an interesting thing. I drove past a garden in Toorak in late spring, and they've got iceberg roses with Shasta daisies growing underneath them. And it's interesting that iceberg roses normally look white. They're a white rose, and they normally look white. But when you have the Shasta daisies flowering underneath them, they look like they're dirty brown. And it's amazing the different shades of white that are available. And a real true Shasta daisy is the whitest flower. And that was Luther Burbank was very, very proud because he felt that when he bred the Shasta daisy, he'd bred the whitest flower in the world. And it's a beautiful, bright white flower. And there's something that flower really prolifically in the summer. And my favourite one is one that you get that has a beautiful shaggy set of petals.
Amazing. Ralph says spring is just around the blooming corner, which
That's
is
right,
very
yeah,
true. We're
yeah.
very excited about it.
It's interesting. It was really hard to find interesting, exciting and colourful things to video going back a few weeks ago. And now, just driving to work, just a short distance to work, I see colourful, beautiful things everywhere that we can video and put up on social media. So there's like a festival of fabulous things, and it's just going to get better and better every week from here.
And if you're not already following us, go chuck us a follow. We post content every day about plants, educational, inspirational, helping you have a beautiful and easy garden.
Yeah.
Now, also, we got someone asking for your favorite native flower.
My favourite native flower. I think perhaps in a way I love the birthday candles because it flowers for so long. It's such a lovely shaped bush. But even more beautiful, there's a hakea called a Buninyong Beauty, or Buninyong. And we did a video on that, and it's the most amazing pink flower, the most incredible show, flowers for ages, absolutely fabulous. But I think that there's hundreds of beautiful Australian flowers, but that Buninyong or Buninyong Beauty, and we've got a video about that on the social media. You could have a look at it, and it's one of the most amazing flowers that you see. And then we've also done videos on the birthday candles, and that is a really, as a package, the bush, the whole shape, everything about that is a wonderful sort of flower in its context, but probably overall just the flower in itself would be that Buninyong or Buninyong Beauty.
Yeah, amazing. K.A. Lane says, I've been gifted 3 treelings only about 8 inches high. Should I pot them on or can I plant them in the ground? They are a silk tree, Cornus cosa and winter sweet. Thank you, South Coast, New South Wales.
I would, as long as I didn't have kangaroos or something grazing in my garden, I'd dig a nice big hole, mix up some nice loose soil, put a bit of Osmocote on top and get them going in the garden, get them rooting and going in the garden.
Amazing. Next question is, what would be your go-to product for garden edging, considering durability, maintenance, and value, etc.?
Okay, so the number one, when I'm doing garden designs, if you were to go down to the botanical gardens, you'll see that they've got garden edges, but they're natural garden edges. If you Google cut edge or clean edge, you'll see how people just cut the lawn. And what's interesting, what I always think about, like my parents had 5 acres of garden, and they had it for many, many years, and they had a cut edge, the same as the botanical gardens, and as kids we used to have to go around and cut it. We used to cut it with a stainless steel spade, but other people use a roller. But basically you can cut the edge of your garden, you can cut it, and what happens, the grass keeps oozing out, and you just every 3 months or every 6 months you just go around, you cut the edge of the garden, rake up the mess, and you're in business. Now what's interesting about that is that like something like Core 10 steel looks fabulous, but grasses and weeds can spear and sneak under it, they get under it, but the cut edge, it's real hard for a weed to get under it because you're cutting it and stopping the weeds getting in. So a cut edge provides really good protection. I think it looks really smart, and like we do a lot of garden designs, and I get young couples in there that are, you know, they've just bought their house or they've just renovated their house, and they and their budget doesn't, you know, and if you tell them to use a steel or a wooden edge, it can mean that they don't have hardly any money left to spend on plants. And so the cut edge means that people with a little bit of elbow grease can get out there, get a really nice smart edge, really stop the weeds from getting into the garden, and be able to spend more on the plants and more on the garden, which is really the edges are not, you know, like when was the last time you went to a garden and said, wow, these garden edges are fantastic. Whereas you get in there and say, wow, look at them Shasta daisies, they're awesome. So really, I encourage lots and lots of people when I do my gardens, and there's times when I can see the need for a wooden or steel or brick edge or something like that, and then I'll recommend those, and probably the one that I'm recommending the most would be that Core 10 steel. But more often than not, I'm telling them to do a cut edge. If they're not sure about how good it's going to look, I said go for an out into the Botanic Gardens and have a look at those edges in the Botanic Gardens, 100 years old. You know, have a look at, you know, a timber edge 100 years old or a steel edge. It ain't going to look that good.
Amazing. Just letting everyone know there's less than 15 minutes until the end of our live and our giveaway. So stick around till the end and Chris is going to ask you a super simple question and the first person to answer it is going to win a free garden design and a free weeping cherry. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of questions to get through, so we're going to keep going with the next question being, I bring home a lush, happy plant from the shop and then watch it slowly wither. What am I doing? That is very unfortunate. What are some tips we can give for this person?
Okay, antidepressants is the way to... When your happy plant becomes unhappy, no, it's not, I'm just joking. You can... The problem with happy plants in Melbourne is happy plants love warmth and heat and light, and so they're up in Queensland, they grow wild, they're like a weed, they go crazy, they go everywhere. But in Melbourne, when they get cold, they tend to wither and fall apart. So really it's all about keeping your happy plant warm and getting some light on it. So you need a warm light spot for your happy plant. If it gets cold in the winter, it's going to rot, it's going to be depressed, it's going to be unhappy, and it's going to wither away and die. So really, keeping your happy plant good. Don't overwater it. Just like you'd probably in winter time, even in a warm room, you wouldn't water it more than once a week. Give it a good soak once a week. If it's in a very warm room, in a coolish room, or a sort of a medium warm room, you might water it once every 10 days. Give it a good water when you do. But basically keep it warm and keep some light on it, and you'll get it through the Melbourne winter. But let it get cold, and miserable, and it'll be gone.
Amazing. Someone asked if we have any specials for birds of paradise plants, and we do. I just commented the link to our sales page. But if you aren't able to copy the link, you can just go to our website, Hello Plants, and then you'll see on that front page the Dr. Livingstone, I presume, Growers Direct flash
sale.
Could
you get me an 8-inch bird of paradise from over
so
there,
you
please?
could navigate yourself there. Let me know if you're having any troubles.
Bird of paradise,
and if you scroll down, you'll see that there is a bird of paradise on sale, down from $35.99 to $19.99. We also have a couple of different varieties of bird of paradise on sale. The Mandela's Gold. I think maybe even a giant bird of paradise. So we definitely have some really great specials on bird of paradise right now, but these will be gone on Friday. So if you are wanting to get a bird of paradise, don't hesitate. Grab it sooner rather than later.
So here's a $19.99 bird of paradise on the Grower Direct flash sale, and I mean that's beautiful. It's 70 or 80 centimetres tall, a really good specimen that'll be producing fabulous birds of paradise in no time. And it just gives you an example of the wonderful things that you'll get on our Grower Direct flash sale. And this one will be a particularly big one. It's the gorilla. Gary the gorilla has gone wild.
Exactly.
Grower Direct flash sale.
Yeah, and that will be running until Friday, so make sure you try and get that soon. Then the next question is from Jacinta. What would you recommend for blocking out neighbours? I live in King Lake, so it must be good in the cold. Okay, and someone suggested Pittosporums.
Okay, so King Lake, particularly there's two sides to King Lake. There's the clay end on the west end and the beautiful chocolate soil on the eastern end of King Lake. And if you're in that beautiful chocolate soil, you can grow Pittosporums absolutely beautifully. And you might look at something like a Eugenoides variegatum, which is a beautiful big leaf with nice pattern on it. And Photinia and Pittosporums, all really, really great for doing a screen up there. And they're both very, very frost hardy. And on the clay, and also you could look at sweet viburnum. So sweet viburnum, Photinia and Pittosporums, particularly Pittosporum eugenoides. And then on the clay end, you sort of look more at a Photinia or perhaps a Leighton's green cypress. So Leighton's green cypress or Photinia on that more clay end of King Lake.
Yeah. Next question. Let me have a look. I want to make my partial shaded courtyard an edible garden. What fruits can I have in pots?
Blueberries would be good. It's not blueberries, lemon, like a lemon blueberry. You could grow in the shade there. You could grow beautiful herbs like coriander, parsley, rocket. So lots of nice green veggies and herbs and things like that. Spinach, of course, watercress. All of those will do really quite well in a bit of shady conditions. So your herbs, your lemons, your blueberries would be the best.
Great. Next question is, when is the best time to give my lily pillies compost?
Right now, they're and if you mix that compost up with a bit of Osmocote, it'd be a really good booster for them right now.
Yeah. Not much longer until our giveaway, so very exciting. Make sure you are getting in all your questions now. We have until 12:45 before we're going to wrap up and do the giveaway. So any pressing questions, comment them now and get them answered live. But we do these lives every week, normally on a Monday. Today is different, that's why we're doing our live Q&A. So we would really appreciate it if you did share this with your friends and family. Let them know about these live Q&As. If there is anyone in your life that is struggling with their garden, if they're having some issues, let them know that we do these live Q&As and they can come and we can help them out. We want to try and help as many people as we can. So for the next question, what are the signs of over-fertilizing plants?
I remember an uncle of mine bought a whole heap of silver birches from me, and he planted them all, and they were growing like crazy, and he got terribly excited about it and thought that if he gave them a big lot of fertilizer, they'd really do well. And he went to the local farm fertilizer shop and he bought an agricultural fertilizer for throwing on the pasture, and he put a really big handful, like a big cupped handful, on every one of those birches. And then a couple of days later they had some torrential rain, and then about a week later all of these birches turned brown and died. And so I remember he was terribly upset about it. But what's interesting is that that uncoated fertilizer released too suddenly, but say you didn't do it as badly as he did it, what the signs you often see is you see like a brown, the outside ring of the leaf, of some of the leaves can turn brown, and that could be too much. That could be like a mild, like all of his leaves turn brown, but if it was just a mild over fertilizing, it could be the outside of the leaf turns brown. And so generally over fertilizing means that too much salt gets in there at once, and so leaf drop, leaf burn are all signs of leaf drop, leaf burn, and rings of brown or black around the edge of the leaf, all signs of over fertilizing.
Yeah.
And death is the sign of over fertilizing.
Yeah. Next question is, what's the best way to support climbing plants like tomatoes or beans?
I think just garden stakes. Garden stakes to hold up your tomatoes, and then something nice and soft, like a nice soft bit of old rag or something like that around them to tie them up. And beans, what people often do is that they make a bit of a trellis. I've seen trellis made out of old garden stakes, so a bit of trellis or something like that for your beans to climb up.
We have someone asking, what would you recommend, but I'm not sure. Maybe in terms of beginner-friendly plants, because this was someone who was struggling with their plants dying. So can you give them some beginner-friendly plants?
Right, okay. So plants that you absolutely can't kill. We sell a lot of a plant here called a spring pearl, but let's think about succulents. Most succulents, things like chalk sticks, you can't kill them. Nandinas, there's all different sorts of dwarf nandinas, and then the things, I think I get the odd customer in here and I know that they're plant killers and I don't want them back complaining in a couple of weeks. I want their plants to grow. And so my favourite plants to give to people who I think are likely to kill the plants would be Nandina, like things like a chalk stick, Dioides wild iris, agapanthus, and you don't have to have those great big agapanthus. You can use the dwarf agapanthus, So they're all sort of little things that you can use. Then things like Indian hawthorns, like you've got your snow maiden, your oriental pearl. They have beautiful blossom in that, and they're kind of a medium-sized bush that's almost impossible to kill. Then in larger bushes where people are in tough situations, Photinia is almost unkillable. And then if you want big, beautiful trees that you can't kill, crepe myrtles. Crepe myrtles are fantastic. Crepe myrtles have beautiful blossom in summer, fabulous autumn colour, nice medium-sized trees, really beautiful exotic trees. But yeah, I can't remember the last time somebody rang up and said my crepe myrtle died.
We just got the rest of the comment, and they were asking for recommendations to create a privacy screen but fancy looking.
A fancy looking privacy screen. I reckon box leaf privet. Box leaf privet looks just like an English box, really, really classy. You could, if you planted a 6-inch pot now, it could be a metre tall by the end of summer, and they seem to grow almost anywhere under almost any conditions, and I almost never had anybody kill them.
Fantastic. The next question is how to rightly prune star jasmine. When to prune them after flowering or during winter?
I think after flowering would be much better, or just towards the end of the flowering, because by the end of the flowering they're starting to grow all new growth everywhere. So it's better to get that new growth where you want it and prune them just maybe 3/4 of the way through the flowering.
Yeah. And our last question for today before we get into our giveaway. So for anyone new that has joined, you can win a free garden design and a free weeping cherry just by answering a super simple question that Chris is going to ask you, and it's the first person to comment. So make sure to stick around. We're going to ask our last question now, which is what would be a colourful plant that does well in Melbourne?
A colourful plant that does well in Melbourne. I get lots of people coming in and saying to me, I want colour all year round, and give me flowers all year round, and I don't really know of anything that gives lots of flower colour all year round, but giving colour all year round, Laura Petalum Plum Gorgeous. In fact, we could grab one, somebody could grab one from just over there and we could show them, but Plum Gorgeous would be one of my favourite. Right now your Plum Gorgeous is going to have beautiful pink flowers, but your Plum Gorgeous, great for year-round colour, and that's because they've got beautiful purple. They don't grow too big, and that you can trim them and shape them into any shape that you want. But here it is here. Thanks for that. So that's your Plum Gorgeous. And I use these in garden designs all the time, and this is my answer to people that want colour every day of the year. And if you look at this label here, what you'll see about your Plum Gorgeous is those beautiful pink flowers in springtime, but purple leaves, beautiful purple leaves, they don't drop off there. The purple leaves are there 365 days a year. So, Laura Petalum Plum Gorgeous, a fabulous plant for year-round colour, and really, when you're looking for year-round colour, what you want is you want something with colourful foliage, because that way the colours build in, it doesn't fall off in bad weather or anything like that. So Laura Petalum Plum Gorgeous, a great plant for year-round colour.
Amazing. All right, well, everyone who has stuck around, you now have the opportunity to win a free garden design and a free weeping cherry. So Chris is about to give you a question, super simple, and the first person to comment is going to win. So, do you have your question, Chris?
If you wanted year-round colour in your garden, what plant could you use?
All right, get to it, everyone. Whoever types first, whoever comments first. All right, it is Sea Moss Sea, Plum Gorgeous. All right, you are our lucky winner today. Congratulations. All right, so we are going to grab your details down. Thank you everyone for joining. It was a very, very close call. Sorry, Fritz, you did come in just right after Sea Moss Sea. We're happy to show you the comments if you want to ask. But it has come just after Sea Moss Sea. Apologies. Yeah, it is unfortunate, it is. But you know, we might do another giveaway, never know. Maybe in our live sale or another live Q&A. So follow us on our socials. We will be promoting something like that if we do it again, so you can keep an eye out that way. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm just gonna quickly make sure that we grab your details, Seamus, just so we can make sure you have this, just to make sure that we can give you your free garden design and your free weeping cherry. Give us, actually, if you message us, just because once this live Q&A ends, we lose all comments. If you can DM us on TikTok, just say I'm the winner from the live, and we can then grab your details, arrange all of that. So yeah, just message us and we will arrange the rest. But everyone else, thank you for coming. If you do want a free weeping cherry, you actually can get one by spending over $300.
It's an amazing offer. We've actually, what it is this time of year, it's often a bit quiet because of the cold weather and that. And like even yesterday, it was a miserable cold day in here and we were flat out busy. And the reason why we were busy is that if you can come in here, we've got all sorts of crazy specials, and you buy up $300 worth of those crazy specials, you can pick up free delivery over most of Victoria and a free weeping cherry. And it's no ordinary weeping cherry, it's a beautiful 6-foot, beautiful weeping cherry. Can make a fabulous centerpiece in your garden, top quality weeping cherry. Spend over $300, there's no other nursery offering anything like it on the planet.
Also, just I want to quickly answer the question, how much is Plum Gorgeous? So right now we have a special on our 7-inch pot that is typically $34.99, is now $29.99, but that deal's only available for a very limited time. Or once you start going up from there, like a 10-inch pot is $89.99, 12-inch pot is $119.99. We also have a deal on our 10-inch pot, down from $89.99 to $69.99. So we got two deals on our 10-inch pot and our 7-inch pot, Plum Gorgeous. And all you need to do is go to our website, just type up Plum Gorgeous, and you'll be able to find those specials. But yeah, once again, thank you everyone for coming, and hopefully we will see you at our live sale on Friday, 12 p.m. If not, we will see you back to our regular scheduling Monday, 12 p.m. for another live Q&A.
Or see me on your favourite platform, 12 o'clock precisely this Friday.
Bye
For
everyone.
the Grow Direct Flash Sale. Thank you, bye.